Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of The Way Forward. My name is April Carter, and I am a proud team member at Tennessee Nonprofit Network, and we are here with another exciting conversation. We are still interviewing our conference speakers, and we have a very, very, very special treat for you all today. And before I introduce Patton, make sure that you are on our website, www.tnnonprofits.org. Hop over to the conference tab so you can follow along and learn all about the session that we're going to be talking about and learn a little bit more about Patton. But before we introduce him, I would like to bring in my colleague, Andrea Hill. Hi, Andrea.
Hello, hello, hello. Very excited to be here and excited for the conference that you all will be engaging in on August 28th. So I guess we'll just jump right in there. I know Patton is ready to go. He has so much information. He is like beaming from the screen. So we're going to ask you this first question. Now, please share a little bit about you and your work and why you're so excited about presenting at our Tennessee Nonprofit Conference.
Yeah, Andre, thank you. You and April, I'm excited to see you and grateful for the opportunity. My journey in kind of short form is I was an intern at Special Olympics International. So I had the wonderful opportunity, not having any idea what the nonprofit world was like, but had an opportunity to go to DC and see the complexity and the wonderful work that happens in our nonprofit world. Eunice Kennedy Shriver, the founder of Special Olympics, was still there. And so I was just kind of blown away by the opportunity. When many people thought, all right, good, you're going for an internship and then you're going to get a real job. I'm like, this is a real job. And so I was so happy. Spent 10 years working for Special Olympics, both in DC and then back in North Carolina, where I grew up. And then I realized I needed to sharpen my fundraising skills. If I wanted to be a nonprofit leader, I felt, that needed to be part of my kind of curriculum. And so I led fundraising at two universities. So about 10 years Special Olympics, 10 years higher ed. And then I started working with nonprofit organizations and their leaders about 16 years ago. So I guess I can do the math now and figure out how long I've been doing this. But love it and love the fact that you all are talking about the way forward because that's such an important theme for leaders of all types, early stage in their career to nearing retirement executives. We all need a way forward, and I hope I can add a little bit to that equation.
And I absolutely love that. You've kind of taken us on a journey, your own personal journey of how you got to where you are, which leads us so well into our next question. And so, the title of your session, you're going to be talking about the leadership blueprint and personal strategic plans for attendees. So, without giving away too much, if you can just give us just a sneak peek into your session and what attendees can expect, we will be all ears.
Excited to share, April. Thank you. And it occurred to me, we as nonprofit leaders spend so much time doing strategic planning for our organizations. I don't think we do it enough for ourselves. And so the premise behind my session is to incorporate some of the strategic planning fundamentals that we all have incorporated, but I don't think we spend enough time on ourselves building our leadership pathway and the way forward, again, using your phrase as well. So my goal in our time together is to literally give folks in the room the tools and ideas that they can take and use right away. And so
And
I'll talk
yes.
about that, but please.
So is this for anyone? Can anyone participate and benefit from this session, or is it just for executive directors and CEOs?
Thanks for the question. I think it applies to all levels. I've kind of looked at three different lenses through which I'm looking at leadership. The emerging leader, that next generation leader, newer to the field, we need them to helping them have a plan to advance. The mid-career professional, and we need them because they're our next generation of executive directors, and how did they get there? And then the executive directors themselves, who they wouldn't be coming to your conference if they weren't focused on they want to get better or they're thinking about their next move, maybe to a different organization or whatever that looks like. But yeah, April, I'm hoping that I can give a framework, the time, the space, the structure that could apply to anyone that wants to advance in this field.
Awesome. I love hearing that. And just thinking about how we even work at Tennessee Nonprofit Network, we want every single employee to have opportunity for professional development at every level, because it
Indeed.
takes every single person, every team member to make that organization impactful. And what that impact looks like is that the communities are better,
Yes.
the groups that we're working with are better. So I think we already got this from just hearing the first answers to a couple of questions. But tell us a little bit about when you're presenting, what is your presentation style, and how do you keep the audience engaged?
It's fast paced. I mean, I welcome conversation throughout, but I realize people are spending that, they want something they can take back to the office, right? They want something they can take back home. So I don't want to waste their time with too much storytelling, but I've got 5 principles that I'm going to use. I'm going to give examples. I've got some worksheets and things that they can take home literally. And then I want to provide even some kind of Q&A, quiz questions, if you will, that gets their kind of wheels turning. And as like April's question said, making sure that it applies to the early stage professional all the way up to the senior executive. But I want to give them a framework to build their own personal board of directors. I want to give them an assessment tool that, again, can be interactive. And so those are the different kind of modalities I hope to use to make it, we're not going to just sit there and listen to a lecture. I know that that's not the way to go.
Now, I wasn't a champion, but I did participate in a few knowledge bowls back in the day, and I love trivia. So
Uh-oh.
I hope that I can participate. I will take off my TNN staff member hat, and I'll make it a competition in the room when we do the trivia part. So just don't
Okay.
tell Kevin that part,
Okay. I
because he
won't. I
won't
won't.
he won't let me sit in the back. But when we're thinking about the just crafting a plan for yourself, a strategic plan, a personal strategic plan that aligns with your career and your organization. It's all a means of moving us forward. And
Yes.
that's the theme of the conference, the way forward. So you've talked about it just a little bit, but can you clarify just a little bit more about how your session aligns with the theme of the way forward?
I have a tool I use. I call it the vision framework. That is literally how to define the way forward. And I've got 7 questions that I won't reveal here, but if you come to the session, I hope it gives you a framework because I think a lot of people struggle with the kind of the totality of, all right, what am I going to do with my life? And that can be overwhelming. So I think there's a way to break it down. Let's answer the questions we can answer, things that we know in terms of our professional growth, but then there's some questions we need to wrestle with. And so I'm hoping I can help identify these questions and then give tools to help answer them. And it may take some time, but I have found in my work with nonprofit leaders all over the country that this breaking it down helps define the way forward, giving you tangible steps. Because I'll ask the question, all right, I know what you want to do in 1 year, and 3 years, 5 years, but what are you going to do between now and the end of 2025? Let's come up with some tangible, tactical things you can do. And so, again, I hope, April, that provides motion to the way forward that you all have built this entire conference around.
Now, I learned a couple of things in this last exchange that April was a part of a Knowledge Bowl team, and so was I. And so now we need to make a TNN Knowledge Bowl team and figure out how we can go on the TV and go for it.
I was
That's
scared she was going to start asking me trivia questions,
yeah.
Andrea. So, yeah,
Well,
I
look,
trust her
that's a
completely.
long-term goal. We got to do, like you said, have some incremental goals
Right,
that gets
right.
us to our mission. And so me as an emerging leader, I need all of that. And
Yes,
even as a senior, mature leader, we need that as well in each
absolutely.
phases of our career. Now, we've asked you all these great questions about the conference. What are you going to bring to the conference? Now, just imagine you had 2 days before the conference or maybe 2 days after the conference. If you had 48 hours of free time in Tennessee, where would you spend it and what would your agenda look like?
I'm road tripping, friends. I'm road tripping. I'm adjacent to Tennessee and the North Carolina there, but I've got family in Chattanooga, so I'm gonna try to get to Chattanooga. I'm gonna try to get to. I guess I go to Knoxville and see my UT friends. But you got to spend some time in Nashville. So, Andre, I know I have to think more clearly about 48 hours, but I'm gonna end up in Memphis. Y'all, I know you two appreciate it. I'm gonna end up in Memphis because I love the food and the culture and the music and everything else. So maybe that's my default answer. I'm gonna do some road tripping, but I may end up in Memphis.
Oh, absolutely. You can sleep at the 49th hour. That's fine. We'll have fun going across. It's just hard to choose, and Tennessee has some amazing places to visit. But
Clearly.
we'll feed you well here in Memphis, take really good care of you, and show you all of the wonderful culture, music, and all the great things that we have to offer. So that sounds like a great 48 hours, and it also sounds like a great session to attend. Now, I have good news and I have bad news. So if you have not registered, bad news first, of course. If you have not
Uh-oh.
registered, the conference is sold out. So we are so sorry. But if you have registered, you have the opportunity to meet Patton in person and attend his session, The Leadership Blueprint, on August the 28th in Nashville, Tennessee at the Gaylord Opryland Resort and Convention Center. It is going to be an amazing day of learning, of connection, of networking, and hopefully you will be in the room. So, Patton, if someone wanted to connect with you before the conference, how could they connect with you?
LinkedIn is my kind of preferred platform, or pmanonprofit.com is my firm, and happy to connect with anyone and look forward to connecting with many of my friends there in Tennessee.
So if you are going to try to steal my seat in the back of the room, please get there before I do on August the 28th. But Patton, thank you so much for joining us for this conversation today. And we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks from
Look
the day
forward
of this
to it.
recording.
Thank
Thanks.
you.